And Willie James, before I leave you, just want to ask about this developing news that we're following. CBS News now learning 2 Venezuelan fighter jets actually flew over a U.S. Navy ship as a show of force. Explain to us why this happened and the message this may send.
Yeah, this was likely in response to that lethal strike that the U.S. took on drug cartels, alleged drug cartel members, killing several individuals earlier this week. And these 2 F-16 Venezuelan fighter jets flew over the USS Jason Dunham, and the Defense Department, according to multiple officials, essentially confirming this news to CBS. We know that we received a statement following this report. Essentially, the Department of Defense calling this a provocative move that was designed to interfere with our counter-narco-terror operations, that statement reads. So we, of course, have heard from the President and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense as well that they will go after these individuals who are trafficking drugs into the United States. Certainly a higher level of tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela with this lethal strike that took place earlier in the week. But the U.S. seemingly indicating that they will go after more alleged drug cartel members in the seas to stop those drugs from coming into the United States. Chanel.
Okay, Willie James Inman, thank you. And for more on this story, I want to bring in CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata, who joins us now from the Pentagon. Charlie, so much to chat about here. What can you tell us about these new moves between the U.S. and Venezuela?
Yeah, a busy day here at the Pentagon, another busy day here at the Pentagon, Chanel. So what we're seeing, as Willie pointed out, this is an escalation. And we got that first. We broke that story last night. Then we got the confirmation from the DoD and the Pentagon, highly provocative moves. It's the first time F-16 fighter jets have been scrambled close to U.S. destroyer in that region. And that U.S. destroyer is one of 8 battleships. There are 2 other destroyers. There's a guided missile cruiser. Might even be a submarine nearby. They don't like to talk about that for obvious reasons. So this is war footing. There are also about 2,500 Marines and amphibious and a couple of other landing dock ships that are in that area. And we're now learning there may be a squadron of F-35s headed toward Puerto Rico as part of this operation. And it's tough to call it an operation because the Pentagon loves the word operation, but they haven't really named what this is, what this mission is. We don't know the details about that strike, that lethal strike on that boat carrying drugs and drug smugglers. Who launched it? What launched it? Was it a drone? Did it come from a helicopter? And it's all getting a little bit murky. And I think the questions that are being raised now and will probably be raised in Congress is, where do we stand in terms of this conflict? Is it an anti-drug or anti-narco terrorist operation? Is it a sort of undeclared declaration of war against Venezuela? Is there an idea of regime change? To be honest with you, I don't even know if they've worked that out yet, because the Pentagon is there to put those assets in place and then to give the president options. But as this escalates, more questions will be raised about exactly what this is.
And Charlie, speaking of the president, President Trump, we know now seeking to rename the Department of Defense as the Department of War. Why?
Well, you know, in his words, the United States fought better when it was called the Department of War. And it was the Department of War until 1947, 1949. Both President Trump and the Secretary of Defense have indicated repeatedly that they want to change the name. But as we understand it, you know, it's going back to the warrior ethos that the Pentagon has been spouting. But as we understand it, what we might see today from an executive order is the idea of using the Department of War, that term, as a sort of secondary title for the Department of Defense. So Pete Hegseth would be called the Secretary of War, which actually President Trump already refers to him as the Secretary of War. So we may see that going forward today in terms of the executive order. What it means in terms of like changing all the signs in this building and all around the globe for that matter, which would cost tens of millions of dollars, if not much more than that. That might take an initiative from Congress. That might take congressional approval, because it was Congress that approved the title of Defense Department after it was changed from the Department of War.
Okay, some important history to understand there, Charlie D'Agata. Thank you.
Thank you.